Hey guys, it's actually a very windy day outside, and it's late winter. It's time to get some seeds started, and I'm going to hurry up and show you how I do that using some repurposed milk jugs. And you don't have to do it inside, even with cooler weather coming. Pardon my hair, it's a really windy, it's not a good hair day. So let's get right to it and get some seeds started. Well, we had to bring this operation indoors. You can hear the wind chimes out these windows. It's super windy and we're actually about to have a storm later today. So we're going to plant indoors, but we're taking them back outside. So let's get started. We're starting our seeds indoors and we're repurposing plastic containers, milk jugs, 2 liters, juice containers, any plastic container. You want to, once it's empty, you want to wash it really well. Make sure it's nice and clean. And as is the case with a milk jug, or in this case it was sweet tea, you want to, after it's clean, you want to make a cut all the way around, with the exception of a very small piece in the back. I choose to do that on the side where the handle is. It just makes it easier. So cut all but just one little spot. After you cut it, fill it with your potting soil, and then we're going to plant. So just in case some of you maybe never planted seeds before, I'll go over that right quick. I'm planting some beefsteak tomatoes to grow from scratch. These will germinate or sprout up in about 7 to 10 days, and they'll be ready to make a good tomato sandwich or some basil grilled tomatoes in early June. See, tomato seeds are itty bitty. Most seeds are very small. So what we do is we sprinkle the seeds on top of the dirt. We do not want to press the seeds down into the dirt, and we want them to be fairly spread out so that once they sprout, they're not in one big cluster. That would make them compete with one another for the dirt, the moisture, and what they need to grow. Once you have them spread on top of the soil, get a handful of your soil. Hang on, the wind blew the door open. Get a handful of soil and just kind of spread it on top. I told you it was windy. I didn't know what that was. The wind blew the door open. Just sprinkle the soil on top of the dirt lightly. You're not going to press down. We don't want the seeds to be what you might call buried. We just want them barely on top. So now get a spray water bottle, and we're going to give them a little bit of moisture. Now this plastic container is going to function kind of like a terrarium by trapping heat and therefore moisture inside. We typically use see-through containers, which is going to help the sunlight to penetrate, and it will get sun and moisture. And you can leave these outdoors, even in snow and ice. Everything is blowing away outside. You can leave them outside even in snow and ice, and they will still sprout up. So once you have it really moist, you want to close your container, get a piece of tape. I'm using duct tape from my craft room, but you could use pretty much anything. I'm just wiping it dry with my finger, and then you want to close the opposite end from the part that you did not cut. The purpose of this is so that if for some reason you don't have the moisture build up on the inside, you can open it and give it a spray. But boom, there you have it. Be sure that you write on the outside what you planted. I've just planted tomato seeds March 1st. I'm planting beefsteak tomatoes, and that's the only kind we intend to grow this year. But if you're growing a different variety, you will want to name that variety. Be sure that you leave the lid on top of your container. That's very necessary to continue to trap the heat and moisture, which is going to help your seeds germinate. And there you have it. Easy peasy, right? You want to repurpose some juice containers or gallon or even half-gallon milk containers. You can even use 2-liter bottles, as long as I have actually used green 2-liter bottles, and it worked just great because it's actually transparent enough to allow the sun through, and the sun creates that little bit of moisture. Your seeds will germinate. The next step will be, once they come up, you'll want to transfer them to individual containers. And we have a rather old post on the blog using faux peat pots, F-A-U-X, P-E-A-T, pots, that you can actually take a toilet paper roller and make a faux peat pot. Works just fine because you can actually open the bottom and stick it straight in the ground. It's a very thin cardboard, so it's actually going to disintegrate back in the earth and will be an organic matter. It'll be great. So we will get to that next. I also have one post that you might be interested in, which is 15 annual flowers for full sun. That's on the blog. I'm a flower enthusiast. The only vegetable that I'll be planting today is, in fact, those beefsteak tomatoes. I love flowers, particularly in my front yard. So it's such a joy to plant the seed, nurture it, watch it grow, and then enjoy those beautiful flowers that I have grown. We're hoping for the best with tomatoes this year. I have a post on my blog called Tomato Hornworm. We had that experience and had to do a great deal of research on how to deal with tomato hornworms, and I wrote about that on the blog. We had a most gorgeous tomato plant. Look it up. Follow me on Instagram, and I will be sharing my flowers once they're all in full bloom. It'll probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of June. Don't wait until then. We'll share lots of pretty things between now and then. So I will see you in the garden.